Are you craving a trip on Space Mountain? Well, we've got the next best thing. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff Topali, and in today's House of Mouse headlines, James Gunn has been rehired, and Disney's Hollywood Studios is seeing some small yet important changes. That and so much more, so let's get to it.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
Let's start this week's news at Walt Disney World and Disney's Hollywood Studios. If you know me, you know that I have a soft spot in my heart for this park, especially the old Disney-MGM studios. And although this news really isn't a big deal, it's just another bit of Disney-MGM studios slipping away from Disney's Hollywood studios. First, we lost the studio tour, then the Great Movie Ride, and now the signs in the parking lot will be changing from names like film, television, stage, and music, which were chosen to represent the different themes in the park, to instead feature characters you'll see in the park, like BB-8, Mickey, Minnie, Buzz, Jessie, and Olaf. If they had to change the names in the parking lot, I at least wish they could have called the portion of the lot furthest from the entrance a galaxy far, far away. Missed opportunity. Another piece of the old Disney-MGM studios that we lost this past week involved the Muppets. People all over the Twitterverse were sharing photos of a side of the Muppet Vision 3D soundstage that once featured a giant painting of Kermit and Miss Piggy. Unannounced, this painting that has been part of the attraction since its opening in 1991 no longer exists. At this point, the Muppets are literally being slowly erased from Disney's Hollywood studios. If you look at an overhead view of Muppet Courtyard, it really is smack dab in the middle of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Star Tours. It makes sense that they would want to connect these two areas somehow, but it's extremely unfortunate that we'd be losing the last Muppet film that Jim Henson ever worked on. I am pleading with Disney now to please make this presentation available on home video if it does indeed go away. Some behind-the-scenes footage would be great as well. My guess is the only way that this attraction could be saved is if the Muppet project for Disney Plus goes extraordinarily well. For now, it's time to play the music and light the lights, but nobody really knows for how much longer. Now for a bit of better news pertaining to Disney's Hollywood Studios, we learned that Pixar's good luck charm, John Ratzenberger, who has voiced a character in every Pixar film, most notably Ham from Toy Story, will also be voicing a character in the upcoming Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. When you enter the theater, Mac, voiced by Ratzenberger as he does in the films, and Sally Carrera welcome all the rookie racers and test your knowledge of Lightning McQueen as you take your seat and get ready for the show. Fuel up and rev your engines because the fun starts when Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy opens on March 31st at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now let's hop over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, where we learned about a new experience available at the Rivers of Light Nighttime Spectacular. With the Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic Tour, you get behind-the-scenes access at Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and beginning on June 1st, you'll also get behind-the-scenes access to Rivers of Light. This exclusive daytime visit takes guests backstage to visit a hidden marina where the animal and lotus barges are prepared for the evening performance. These backstage magic guests will be among the first to see the inner workings and learn the mechanical and technological secrets behind this nighttime spectacular. Also, as part of the tour, guests will enjoy a new private lunch at Tiffin's Restaurant in Disney's Animal Kingdom. The experience includes a special menu and insider knowledge about the creation of the theme park. Disney Parks blog recently let us know about a bunch of new experiences coming to select Walt Disney World hotels. The new Captain Hook's Pirate Crew at Disney's Beach Club Resort teaches youngsters pirate ways and lets them follow clues that will lead to hidden treasure and being named to Captain Hook's Pirate Crew. Armed with clues, young buccaneers will comb through the resort and set sail on a pontoon boat around Crescent Lake in the latest seafaring adventure at Disney's Beach Club Resort. Once the treasure is unearthed, all join in a pirate feast. Guests can become part of Ariel's world at the Mermaid School at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels. Guests ages 4 and older can enjoy an hour-long class where they'll be fitted with a swimmable tail and led through activities teaching them how to swim in a pool like a mermaid. Mermaid School will be offered on select dates at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, and Disney's Yacht and Beach Club Resorts. All new master classes led by professional artists at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels will have guests creating their own masterpieces. The artful lineup will include Wind Paint Show at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa, Wild About Painting at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, Painting on the Bayou for adults, and Painting by the Lagoon for kids at Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter Resort, Painting in the Vineyard at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club Resorts, and Canvas and Wine Glass Painting on the Boards at Disney's Boardwalk Inn. Whether a seasoned sportsman or amateur angler, guided excursions or dockside fishing in the waterways of Walt Disney World Resort are great fun for guests of all ages. Aboard a 21-foot Sun Tracker pontoon or a tournament-style nitro bass fishing boat, teeming Disney waters are an angler's dream. Outings are catch and release. All of these excursions range in price and age, but if any of them sound appealing to you, find more details at waltdisneyworld.com. While you're over on that site, you may want to check out ticket prices as select Walt Disney World tickets recently went up in price. The cheapest one-day tickets at $109 have not gone up in cost, but some busier holiday weeks such as Christmas are now more expensive. These price increases have certainly not affected all tickets, but if you're planning on visiting Walt Disney World at popular times of the year, you may want to double-check the most recent price increases. This past week, former Disney CEO Michael Eisner was vacationing at Walt Disney World with members of his family. He had nothing but nice things to say about his visit on his Twitter account, and I, for one, was so happy to see him back in the parks. It has to be a bit weird to enter a park like Disney's Hollywood Studios or Disney's Animal Kingdom that you were hugely involved with creating and see all of the changes. Nonetheless, Michael Eisner seems to have a very healthy attitude, respect, and fondness toward the Disney parks to this day. If you'd like to follow Michael Eisner on Twitter, which I highly suggest, his handle is @Michael_Eisner. That's EISNER. And while you're there, be sure to follow @DIZNEYCTC as well if you're not already. I wonder if Mr. Eisner watched the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular in complete awe of the fact that it's mostly unchanged. Now let's fly over to Disneyland Paris, where they've announced that Disney Loves Jazz will be returning to Walt Disney Studios Park on June 15th for its second year. This year, Thomas Dutronc, a star of the gypsy jazz scene in France, is the headliner at Walt Disney Studios Park. Tickets to this one-night event are now available. On Saturday, April 13th, during Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, Disney will be holding a special panel called Bringing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to Life. The panel will be featuring folks from Imagineering and Lucasfilm who I'm sure will be sharing some new information for those in attendance. The entire celebration will be taking place between April 11th and 15th, and I'm expecting that we'll be getting our first trailer for Star Wars Episode 9 during that time frame. Speaking of trailers, we got our first full-length trailer for the live-action Aladdin movie starring Will Smith as Genie. Opinions about this upcoming film have been pretty mixed, but this trailer did seem to change some minds. Let's face it, folks, no matter what we think of the trailer or Will Smith as Genie, if you're listening to this podcast, there's a pretty darn good chance that you'll be seeing the movie in theaters. We also learned that Alan Tudyk will be the new voice of Iago in the live-action film. Tudyk recently voiced Disney characters including Knowsmore in Ralph Breaks the Internet, King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph, the Duke in Frozen, and Hey Hey in Moana. Nothing against Tudyk, but I think I'm gonna really miss Gilbert Gottfried's voice as Iago. If we can keep James Earl Jones' voice as Mufasa, can't we keep Gilbert as Iago? And now for some really big movie news. After previously being fired, James Gunn has been reinstated as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you don't remember, Gunn had been fired over some old controversial tweets that he had apologized for. A huge number of Guardians cast members stood by Gunn's side, and now it all seems to have worked out the way it was supposed to in the first place. James Gunn had this to say on Twitter: "I am tremendously grateful to every person out there who has supported me over the past few months. I'm always learning and will continue to work at being the best human being I can be. I deeply appreciate Disney's decision, and I am excited to continue making films that investigate the ties of love that bind us all. I have been and continue to be incredibly humbled by your love and support. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Love to you all." End quote. I think there's a really good lesson in all of this. If you remember, back when Gunn was fired from the project, he didn't throw a hissy fit, at least not publicly. He was very professional in the way he reacted, and frankly, if he hadn't been, this rehiring may not have taken place. But it seems like Disney knew they royally screwed up and were being selective about the individuals affected. That's going to do it for the news this week, so let's jump into this week's Twitter poll. Now, in this past Wednesday's episode, it was all about 90s Night at Disneyland, which was fantastic, and frankly, folks, out of the hundreds of episodes of Disney Coast to Coast that I recorded, this past Wednesday's episode was one of my favorites, so if you haven't listened, I highly suggest that you do so. So related to that, I asked you folks in the Twitter poll, which of these choices was your favorite Disney afternoon show? Your options were Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, or Tailspin. In last place was Tailspin with 5% of the votes, followed by Darkwing Duck with 12% of the votes. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers got 27% of the votes, and the winner is DuckTales with 56% of the votes. Take a moment, folks, to head over to DisneyCoastToCoast.com and connect with us there. You can find all of our social media links over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. And if you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Head to iTunes, leave that 5-star rating and review for Disney Coast to Coast, and help other Disney fans find the show more easily. Now, this episode of Disney Coast to Coast was produced by Philip Elke, who has supported the show through Patreon. If you'd like to become a DCTC producer or gain other rewards, including early access to episodes, live stream Q&As, behind-the-scenes access, and more, information can be found at patreon.com/DisneyCTC. That's patreon.com/DIZNEYCTC. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.